Jimmy McAleer found the net. Goal for Wednesday.
A terrific goal by Sheree.
Chris Waddle, is he going to have a crack?
Oh, he does, and it's goal. Still Glenn Wheeler. Aidan Fred whacks the goal. It's the goal.
Is there time for a winner?
Storch, the EFL, points deductions, transfer restrictions, wage caps, and now Nick DeMarco enters the fray, and there's a small matter of a game of football to be played this weekend as well. Hello and welcome to Wednesday Tie-Dye Podcast. I'm James Mappin. This is the debate show, or as some call it, the therapy session. Either way, we're going to be here for an hour and a half taking your calls on anything to do with Sheffield Wednesday. Maybe you've got something you want to get off your chest. We can talk Takeover, we can talk EFL. Ultimately, we can talk anything that you like. In order to do that, you do one of two things. If you're watching over on YouTube, then please get in the comments. We'll try and read out as many of the comments as we possibly can throughout the show. It does get very busy in here as well, but if you're desperate to get yours read out, super chats are more than welcome. You can also do what others do as well and come over to X Spaces and have a chat with us. I have charged the phone up, so we are good to go. Full battery and everything, so remember to do at least one thing today. So yeah, head over there, head over to X, click on the little purple circle on our profile, enter the spaces, press request to talk on the bottom left and I'll bring you up. It really is that simple. I just want to kick things off and with a few things and bring people kind of up to speed if they're not already are before we get underway with the callers and the comments. It feels very much like it's the trust and Sheffield Wednesday against the EFL at the moment, doesn't it? James Silverwood came out all guns blazing last week, calling for the EFL to relax the rules or at least reconsider the rules, which could see us hit with not only a 15-point deduction, but also a transfer fee ban, wage restrictions per player, and also an annual wage cap as well. Well, the reports are that EFL are standing firm and the deductions will be applied if Storch and the Aspire Group are to go ahead with the purchase. So where does that leave us? Well, ultimately, David Storch and his consortium could potentially pull out of the purchase altogether. That's what Joe Cram was saying the other day. All because our previous owner is asking for, over £60 million or whatever it is. Obviously, that would be a huge disaster. Not only could we see Ashley swoop in, but also more for the time that's left between now and the start of next season for everything to get sorted. The sale, bringing players in, just getting ready for the new season. However, having said all that, Nick DeMarco has been enlisted by David Storch, so it doesn't look like they're going down without a fight. Obviously, he's regarded as the go-to barrister in the world of football. I'm guessing he's coming to fight this potential 15-point deduction, the wage limits and the wage caps and everything else that the EFL are trying to put on us for next season. That's not Nick's first rodeo with Sheffield Wednesday, and if you're wondering why his name is familiar, it could be that he's worked with, according to him, over 45 different football clubs, and also it could be that he was responsible for reducing the points deduction back in 2020, if you can remember, from 12 to 6, following the sale of Hillsborough that we, as we all know, he put in the wrong accounting year. But anyway, that's we've gone over that far too many times. I suppose the fact that DeMarco is involved probably indicates a level of intent, if nothing else. He's not going to be cheap, I wouldn't have thought. And they've certainly gone to the best to try and help. Last week we had David Storch tweeting, or should I say Storchy Owl. Well, now we've got Nick DeMarco himself heading for social media. I'll read out what he had to say. A little bit cryptic, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to kind of work out perhaps who he's on about. And, I think he's on about us. Maybe could be on about Chelsea as well, I guess. But he put, when it is argued in various football disputes that points deductions must be imposed even for inadvertent breaches in order to vindicate compliant clubs, one has to wonder whether that reflects a genuine commitment to consistent, strict enforcement in all cases, or is simply a position adopted for the purposes of a particular case. And it goes on to say that consistency is very important in sport, and the lack of it can undermine public confidence in the integrity in the whole game. So, clearly, like I said, I presume that's talking about us. Maybe, like I said, also could be talking about Chelsea as well, or maybe even both of them. But we can obviously talk about that. We can even talk about the game that happened last week, the 2-0 defeat at the hands of Ipswich Town. Ipswich were fourth when we played him. Well, next weekend, we've got a team that lie fifth in Hull City that we've got to travel to the East Coast before we get a week off, or should I say a weekend off with the international break. Like I said, as long as it's about Wednesday, we can talk about anything you like on the show. Quick couple of plugs before we carry on. Make sure you check out Patreon. Patreon.com/WTRD pod is where you need to go for all that extra additional content. I'm going to be speaking to a Hull fan just after the show, but also, make sure you go and check that out, and also check out the merchandise as well. WTRDpod.myshopify.com. Got a new t-shirt on there, which you can see if you're watching on YouTube. The Honolulu Wednesday tee in both white and blue. It looks great, even if I do say so myself. But head over there. You can get that and all the other stuff as well. I did have to take all that Danny Real stuff down, though, because, for obvious reasons. But it's not just myself. This evening, I'm also joined by Mr. Ollie North. Ollie, how's things, mate? You all good?
I'm really good, mate, to be honest. Normal service has been resumed. Positivity is over. And let the shit show of shenanigans from the EFL begin, it seems.
Well, you said that. Today, the sun has been shining. There's been no rumours today. Everything's been pretty steady, to be honest. It feels very weird, Ollie, being a Wednesday fan and not
speak too soon.
Well, yeah, it's only 8 o'clock, 8:05. There's still 4 hours left of the day, to go. Or, yeah. We all know when that when what was it, 5 to midnight when the preferred bidder was announced a couple of weeks ago. Exactly. Now feels like it was a lifetime ago, doesn't it, Ollie?
It does. It really does. What was it, only a couple of weeks? But it just so much has happened. It's just.
It was last week? No, it was last week, wasn't it?
Last week it was last week we were talking about it. It was the week. Guys, mate, it feels I can't keep up with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I've got so many notes and I'm even scribbling through them now.
Yeah, great. Well, before we bring some of the calls back, I know that Sheree's waiting to speak. What sort of headspace are you in, Ollie? And by that I mean kind of last week we were buoyant because Storch had been named as the preferred bidder. It's spoken on Radio Sheffield. Now we've got the trust kind of really going at the EFL and publicly as well, which I don't think the EFL have kind of taken too kindly to.
I don't know
whereabouts?
Any favours that bit, the supporters trust. I get it. They're speaking on our behalf, but Storch has employed the godfather of PSR, as I found out that his nickname is online. And let's not forget, this is the guy that led Leicester's defence when the Prem took, was charging them for their losses, and he found a loophole. He claims it isn't a loophole, but he found a loophole, and it was thrown out. So this just let Storch. The fact that Storch has bought in DeMarco gives me the hope of he isn't going to walk away.
Yeah. He does sound like. I mean, like I said, he's not going to be cheap, is he? And also,
he's not going to be cheap.
He has got a decent track record by all accounts. Now, if what the trust have saying is true, it is guidelines and things. Like I said last week, if these are guidelines, then in which case are you going to actually not apply the 15-point deduction if it's not going to be us? Because surely our scenario is probably one way you perhaps wouldn't apply that, if you know what I mean.
I mean, and let's face it, most of these, like in 2020, they always get overturned because we can appeal it. And at some point down the road, it gets lessened. So I think, to be honest,
go on then. Just on this, what would be a good result for you then? Because at the moment, as it stands, we could be on minus 15, and then we could have the points to we could have the wage restrictions, and we could also have the wage cap as well. So £7,000 a week and £7 million a year. What would kind of the least that you want, if you know what I mean?
I would say -6 to -9 points deduction, because they're going to have to make some sort of points deduction if we're not going to hit the 25p on the pound. Because let's face it, more on chops is not going to take 10p on the pound, even though we should do. Or the deal of we pay more on the ground than we do him.
Yeah, I heard that as well. Yeah,
because that would be a shrewd move, but he isn't shrewd, so he's not going to take those. The transfer ban, from what my understanding is, I think that was in place before we went into administration, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it's because he didn't pay the players basically, and he didn't pay HMRC, and he didn't pay another club, and he didn't. You get the picture, you know. He didn't pay a lot of people. Yeah.
So I kind of think transfer ban probably has to stay, and a -6 and -9. I think that would be probably the best. This whole crap of let's bring in a wage cap and let's put them at 7 million for the year just feels overly excessive and almost vindictive. And then for them to come and say they want us to stay in the EFL, you're making it really bloody hard for us to stay in the EFL by constantly chucking an extra shackle or an extra handcuff, because a -15 and we can only pay £7,000 a week wages and a cap of 7 million will surely see us go to League Two. It's almost like they want to punish us when they should be punishing him. And what did he get? A 3-year ban?
Yeah. And the thing that does me more than anything else is the fact that I know he's not going to get a lot of money out of it, but the fact that he's actually asking for 60 odd million. Again, I know he doesn't get that much. I think I've seen somewhere it's probably closer to 2 or something like that.
It's going to be 2 now, yeah.
Yeah, but I've seen other people saying that, you know, if he waves off most of that, he will still get the same amount of money than what he's going to get now, except everyone else will get slightly more, and therefore we will hit that 25 pence in the pound and stuff. Because you're right. The for me, all those restrictions next season, it just doesn't really. It doesn't seem fair because, like I said, we haven't. I feel like a stuck record because I keep saying the same thing over and over again. It's all about stopping clubs from exploiting the rules and gaining an advantage. Yeah. All that happened to us is we just ran out of money, which I know is bad in itself, but surely they could see all of that and the reason why. You know, we're not asking for, like you just said there, just, you know, we're not asking to be let off the hook totally. I get that there's rules in place, and from their point of view, if they don't apply any of the rules, what sort of message does that send to everyone else? But I do feel that it doesn't have to be as kind of militant. It
just feels more excessive, and now it's almost like, what else can we put on them?
The other thing though as well, I feel like because he's been played out well in the public eye, like it always is. You know, DeMarco's involved and everything else. Is there not a point, Ollie, where that looks more embarrassing for the EFL, where they have to get lawyers involved and then they ultimately back down again? It just doesn't.
I can see with DeMarco coming in, and with this whole thing with Chelsea now, because that is going to be, if DeMarco's smart, he will go, well, look at them. They had financial irregularities from the past, but you've given them a £10 million fine and a 9-year suspended transfer ban on the youth players, which is all they ever buy.
9 months, not 9 years, 9 months. So takes them to next months. January, yeah.
Oh, sorry. So that's nothing. Do you know what I mean? It's an absolute joke of where's their point deduction? You have to have consistency across the board. Doesn't matter who you are, Arsenal or Grimsby, everyone has to be the same.
Well, you can just look to Man City for all, and that goes straight out the window, doesn't it? Really, but
that's the thing. They'll protect the clubs they don't want to see get punished.
Yeah, right. We're gonna
be inflammatory.
I've got some more questions for you, which I'll come to in a bit, I'm sure. But I'll come to Sheree. But first, let me just come to some comments. Nat says, evening. We've got Keith in the building. We've got Daz. We've got Matt. Mark says, with DeMarco on board, I'm confident. Daniel's here. We've got Big Revs again. Debbie, we've got loads of people in the building. Nat says, let's hope this hotshot lawyer can sort the EFL out. Daz asks, will Chansiri waiver his debt? That's the question. Probably answer that straight away, Daz. No. It's probably the answer. Rich says, evening, James and y'all. Loads of people in here. Owls, Oasis and 007. 90 mins. Hope you don't run out of steam after 70 and concede late to lose. I could have some substitutes, but we don't do those either.
Have we got any Russian comments tonight?
Russians being blocked in. No, actually, it's not. All nationalities are welcome over on here. Mr. Worldwide, as we say. Mark says, I can't see Storch pulling out, and the day I don't hear Ashley's name again can't come soon enough. Mark, imagine if we signed someone in the summer called Michael Ashley. That would be that would be peak. Dan Langton says, Nick DeMarco is a top barrister. Jason, good to watch again, James. You're brilliant, and I do hope this takeover will happen. I watched Wednesday for 35 years. Yeah, and probably this probably is the worst year, Jason, as well. I'm pretty certain I can say that, to be fair. Loads more comments as well. I'll come to them as we go through the show. But let's bring Sheree up if we can. Sheree, how are you? Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you, James.
Good. Sheree, what do you want to talk about this evening?
Well, I've watched that Sheffield Wednesday documentary.
Okay, the one that was on BBC yesterday, day before, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you make to it?
I couldn't believe some of the stuff that was coming out.
Like what, Sheree?
Like, obviously the stuff with you know who, the old owner.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's one. I think it's just kind of it was a bit of a snapshot, weren't it, of what we've been going through for the past, well, all this season. Obviously, it extends further than that as well, doesn't it? Really, when you as a Sheffield Wednesday fan, you know what it's been like for the past 10 years. I'd comfortably say the last 8 anyway. But yeah, like when you see that game against Leicester, which was the first game of the season, feels like a lifetime away now, doesn't it, really? When you go back to then, when it was the previous owner, we didn't know when he was going to leave, and all that sort of stuff. That seems, when Nathaniel Shalabar took the lead in the first half. Yeah, I know. But it seems like a distant memory away, doesn't it, Sheree?
Oh yeah, long time ago, yeah.
Yeah, what's your take on everything at the moment? Obviously, we've got Storch and the Arise group that are obviously looking to purchase the club, but we've got the points deductions potentially looming over us. What's your feeling at the moment, Sheree?
Well, it's not good with the points deduction.
I mean, will we ever have a season where we're not under a points deduction? If you think about it, we had the points deductions when we got relegated last time, points deduction this time. That's 3 seasons out of what, the last 6, I want to say. It's almost like every season we're gonna have to be faced with some sort of adversity.
Yeah, every season, point deduction.
Do you think we'll get a points deduction? Obviously, he's enlisted the help of a top barrister in Nick DeMarco. Do you think that we'll get away with it, or do you think there'll be some sort of points deduction? What do you think is going to happen? Come the first game of the season next season.
Well, hopefully this top barrister knows what he's doing.
I think he does. With all the clubs that he's represented, should I say? Although, I mean, he could play for us if he wants. If he's got some boots, he might be able to. You never know. He might be able to play central defensive midfielder on Saturday, or maybe striker, maybe partnering Jerry Yates up top. You never know. What did you make to the Ipswich game, Sheree?
I thought we played really well in the first half, but I thought second half we looked very tired towards the end.
Yeah, it's been like that all season, though, hasn't it, Sheree? To be fair, like it's that's just been the blueprint of our season. I thought we were more competitive, though. I thought the performance was a lot better. If you add that onto the Derby game.
I thought the referee was very poor.
Yeah, we don't normally talk about the referees, but I couldn't help myself for the past two games.
That was a stop penalty.
Yeah, I have to. I know all Ipswich fans were sending that alternate angle and stuff, and they're saying definite contact. Yeah, I get that, but he's just chucked himself to the ground. But look, it is what it is. It's not going to change our season, is it? You know, we're not going to.
Exactly, it's not going to change our season, James.
We're not going to stay up or anything like that. So it is what it is.
Because, like we said, Derby Day relegation was confirmed anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it just would. I know. Obviously, we were 1-0 down at that point. It was a bit of an onslaught as well, but you know, it is what it is. We like to have a bit of a whinge and a moan, don't we? At the end of the day, but yeah, Hull, Sheree, this weekend, we've won the last 2 times. We've gone to the MKM, one in the cup.
Okay.
Was it the cup game? Then we won last season as well. Josh Windass with a penalty. Weren't that like the first penalty that we had in a really, really long time or something as well? That if I can remember,
you are correct. Yeah,
and then Michael Smith scored. So yeah, 2-2 for trips to their place. I'm not too. I don't think we're going to make it 3-3, Sheree. I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I'm not going to put it on Wednesday winning on Saturday. Put it that way.
No, I don't feel confident about us winning either, to be honest, James.
I mean, there is some positive signs. Max Lowe's been seen in training. By all accounts, he could be fit and available for...
Yeah, speaking about that, when I did see him in the fan zone, for the Southampton game...
Yep.
I did ask him when he was going to be back, and he said Hull City.
Well, there you go then. I mean, whether he'll come straight into the side or whether he'll be on the bench or not, I'm not too sure.
That's what he told me. He'll be back for that game. So.
I mean, it's the international break as well the week after, so, I mean, for me, just don't rush back. You know what I mean? There's another week and a half or so after that we can, 2 weeks even, that you can rest and recuperate.
George Brown's back in training.
George Brown is back in training as well. Another one. It's one of those where, let's not rush them back. Let's not, which I don't think he will. They could be vital for next season, 100%. But sure, is there anything else you want to mention at all?
And to be honest with you, you might agree with me on this, right? If we do sell Piers Charles, I would happily have Murphy Cooper as number 1.
I have to agree with you on that. But look.
All right, what do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. But $7,000 a week, we can't pay anything for in terms of fees at the moment. It's a bit of a hard sell, isn't it, Ollie? Like, this is the problem, isn't it, really? Now, next season, when we're looking at assembling a squad, if we have all these restrictions in place, we're almost kind of like how we are now. Yeah.
I mean, do we get around it? Because I don't know what his wages are. Could we say to QPR, we'll pay $7,000 of his towards his wages?
Are you meaning for
loan? The rest?
Are you meaning to?
Because I don't think we're going to be able to. Yeah, because I don't think we're going to be able. We can't buy him, and I don't think they're going to let him go on a free. I think the only option he'll come in is on a loan. Yeah, and in that case, if I'm not sure how it works with the loans and in terms of the wages and stuff like that, I have no idea. I don't think the EFL know either. So to be honest, sorry, what was that, Sheree?
The EFL don't even know what they're doing anyway.
Yeah, you are right on that one. But no, I do agree. Murphy Cooper next season, if we haven't got Piers Charles, will be absolutely fine by me. I thought he'd acquitted himself really well, to be fair. Sheree, is anything else you want to mention at all? Give me a score prediction then for Hull.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. You always ask me my score prediction.
Go on, what's it going to be?
Oh, God. To be honest, I can't see it winning.
Are we going to get a point? Are we going to pick up a draw?
Maybe a point, maybe a draw. But a win? No.
Go on then. What's the score going to be? What is it? I need a score prediction. I'm going to nail you down to this score prediction, Sheree.
1-1.
1-1. I would take that. Sheree, massive thanks for coming on. I really do appreciate it, as always. Always great to speak to you on every Wednesday evening. I'm just going to bring some comments. I've got Subaps that's waiting Ollie. Let's have a look. Rich says the board on the EFL are corrupt, like local MPs who take backhanders for favours. So with Chelsea, this is what's happened. And also City, they got the money to pay off. All I'd say on that, Richard, is obviously this City stuff and the Chelsea stuff, that's not the EFL. I'm not trying to defend them in any way, but that's the Premier League. And the FA, I'm guessing, are the FA involved? Not too sure. It's certainly the Premier League.
I think they
anyway.
are.
Yeah, so yeah, like I said, I don't want to really, defend them at all, but yeah, not their bag, that one. James says, was in Cheers bar in Calamilor when Shalabar scored, swigging a San Miguel. Life was good. Little did I know that would be here late March. Yeah. Do you know what were you feeling at the start of the season, Ollie? Like, how were you? When we were going into it, it was very much a siege mentality, weren't it? What were your thoughts?
I was really weird. I just written it off because as soon as it all came out, we hadn't paid players and it went up from 1 month to the second month to then, like the third, and I was just like, we're fucked. We're going down. We're relegated before the season's kicked. This is going to be a season where I don't get stressed and I don't get annoyed. But I've still managed to get stressed and annoyed.
But did you think it would be this bad, though?
Kind of. I kind of expected it. When we started off so strongly and we took the lead and then, Chalobah managed to injure himself by scoring. Can't believe he managed that. But if anyone's going to do it, it will be him. I was kind of like, Jesus, we've got a chance. And then Leicester scored and then they scored again. But we started off really kind of way more competitive than I expected because we were picking up points. We were above the neighbours for quite a while. They were doing their best to keep us off the bottom. And I was just thinking we're going to get a points deduction and that's when it's all going to hit. And I do think as soon as we got the points deduction, there seemed to be a steady dip in the results and maybe the attitude. And because it's really hard to stay positive when you're getting knocked every week.
Yeah.
And, you don't know if you're going to be paid as well because it wasn't until October that.
Yeah, it's one of those where, at the start of the season, we all say, I've written it off, like what you just said there. We're not bothered. Yeah. But then this is like when people keep saying, have a go, I'd rather lose 5-0. Like, really? Like when you keep losing every week, it gets to a point where, it starts to get a bit long in the tooth.
I don't want these youngsters getting pummeled 5-0 every week because what's that going to do for them? It's going to be an even bigger job next season. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's not going to help, is it? You know, I know Granger's only getting a couple of minutes. Maybe he could do with a little bit more for us to see what he could actually do. But
what was the point of those two subs at that time? Do you know what I mean? I was just sitting there going, why bring them on then?
Hey, look, at least Rossinia, at least we weren't giving notes to players with 10 minutes to go when you're 5 goals down, expecting to change the game.
Yeah, there's that. So
I think football's just at the moment it's just meant. I mean, I don't know if you saw the score earlier. Barcelona 7-2 against Newcastle. Giving them an absolute right pasting. Is it Bodo Glimt? They lost 5-0 yesterday as well. They got knocked out. We've got
City went out.
We've got Senegal not getting stripped of the AFCON. It was Senegal, weren't it?
Yeah.
And Morocco have now won the. Football,
but that's not
mental.
The want to win it, is it? They're not going to go, oh yeah, now we're going to get some medals, but we didn't really get them. In the stadium.
Look, football is strange at the moment.
At this moment, it's the weirdest thing I've ever known. So
anyway, I saw something in I think it was Paddy Power that said those Senegalese Bodo Glimt fans will be dreading to going into work tomorrow. I thought it was quite funny. Anyway, let's come to Subaps because we've gone way off on a tangent there, and we need to get it back onto what we're actually talking about. Subaps, how are you going, mate? You okay?
Hi, James. Hi, Ollie. Yeah, I'm all right, lads. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you very much.
Bad, mate,
Thanks for asking.
Good stuff.
Nick DeMarco is in the building. Well, not strictly speaking, but he's been enlisted by Storch, who in turn also isn't in the building either yet because they haven't bought the club. But But yeah, what's your take on it and everything that's going on at the moment?
Well, I suppose it's a bit typical Wednesday, getting us all excited last week. We nearly had an all-timer of a day, didn't we, with all that great stuff that Storch was saying to Rob Staten on the radio, and then nearly beating Watford all on the same day. And then we got hit with wage caps and -15 and the EFL not budging and rumours that Storch might not be interested and all that kind of stuff. But I do think the fact that he's enlisted someone like DeMarco says how serious he is.
Yeah.
He's going into, if he is going to go into battle for us with the EFL, I mean, that's probably how we would see it, that he's going to go into battle with the EFL. But in reality, he's not. In reality, he is a very, very successful businessman who will be in the middle of negotiations. And I would expect those negotiations to be at a really, really high level. That's why he's got somebody at the top of his game in DeMarco to sort of pull apart the rules and regs and really drill down into how consistent they are in applying those rules. Because if you look at that tweet that DeMarco sent out, he's almost telling people what he's going to be doing.
Yeah.
And to me, it looks like what he's going to be doing is pulling apart every single club who has gone into administration under the EFL and making sure that we are not treated with any more detriment than those clubs. And the one thing you can say is that he's gonna find holes in that. He will find holes in it, and I just hope that the EFL can see what they're doing to us, because it's all very well other clubs, and I noticed particularly the last week, for some weird reason, it's been Derby fans and Blades in the comments going on about take your punishment, pay Chansiri and all the rest of it. It's just a complete load of rubbish. It's a totally different situation to everybody. There isn't another owner in the EFL who's been owed 60 million quid and been responsible for -15. The -15 for all those other clubs have not been because the ridiculous old-fashioned rule says you've got to pay the fella who put you in this mess to start with 60 million quid. So I do think we've got a very unique set of circumstances, and hopefully Storch will maintain his interest. He'll get DeMarco on the case, and ultimately, I think that the outcome I don't think we're going to get away without a points deduction. I think we're going to get -15 regardless. But I do think that they might have some success on the wage cap, because really the wage cap and the transfer embargo is what's going to kill any competitiveness, I think.
Yeah, Ollie, just on that, when we're talking about all these restrictions and stuff, I think the one thing that we all forget is the people that actually voted on all these rules are the owners themselves. They've voted for it to be like this. So I suppose there's always going to be a little bit of ambiguity in there just to kind of help them, and also they're not going to make it, like I'm talking about, not having to pay, paying back for the money that he's put in and stuff. Those things are always going to be in there, because that if they've voted for it, then they're not gonna make it. There's no advantage to them by not putting that in, if that makes sense.
Yes, exactly. They've done it so they can ensure that they'll get at least some money back if this happens to them. So yeah, of course they're not going to go against that. I don't know if it will be the full -15. I think we might get lucky, but then even if they do give us -15, as I said earlier, there's always the appeal, and it could always be looked at like last time.
Yeah. Subs, if say we do get hit with all these restrictions and the points deductions and stuff, what do you think next season looks like for us?
I think it looks like a relegation battle, in all honesty, because I would have expected, with the damage that's been done before, and we've talked on this program a number of times over the last year or so about the amount of damage that's actually under the bonnet that's not visible. It's everywhere, isn't it? It's the whole lot, and that's really what Storch was alluding to, the fact that the training ground's not up to speed, not up to standard. The stadium's falling apart. We've got no playing assets at all. We've got no structure in place. We've got no hierarchy. People are not in position to do all of the functions we need. The academy is the academy loses any sign of talent, because that's what's happened the last few years. So all of these things say to me that I would have been expecting a 3 or 4 year stint in League One anyway, because of the damage that's been done. I think if we start on -15, we're hamstrung with all the other stuff in terms of embargoes and wage restrictions. We're going to be in a real relegation scrap, and that's not going to be pretty. I would have expected us to be sort of average mid-table next season, but I think with -15, haven't we got to be sort of pushing for sort of playoff form to avoid relegation?
Well, yeah, like you need 65 points. If we're talking like the magic 50, 65 puts you kind of around about 10th. But we're talking there, that's like literally surviving by a point or two. Do you know what I mean? That means taking it right up to, like what it was going to Sunderland and having to, get a result at the stadium. Like that's kind of going to be a similar situation. So really, yeah, you're right. If we want to be comfortable and to be, finishing mid-table and having a few dead rubbers at the end of the season, knowing that you're not going to get relegated, you're right. We need to be building a top 6 squad, and that's the thing that worries me. In that, me and Matt spoke about this at the weekend, and we were saying, how do you attract players to come to Sheffield Wednesday? It's all good and well saying, capital M, capital A, massive, and all that, 20,000 fans, rah rah rah. But then, really, for the players, it's who's in that squad with them to play, and let's not forget, you attract them and go, oh, by the way, yeah, we're on -15 to start the season. Like, it's a difficult sell, and you haven't got any money to kind of get those first people over the line, those marquee players, to say, but you'll be playing with these players, if you know what I mean. Ollie, it's going to be difficult to attract players under those circumstances, isn't it, really, when you look at it?
But it all depends on the person who's doing the selling as well. So it all depends on who's going to be in charge next season, because that plays a massive point. And also, let's not forget, more woe, 4 teams get relegated from League One to League Two.
Yeah, they do, yeah. Yeah. So it's
not even we've got to finish 4th from bottom, we have to finish 5th from bottom. That's
in its subs as well. Like I was saying there, like it is a hard sell in it to get people to come to Wednesday. As much as fans, we think it's the most amazing football club ever to exist, which I think is true. But still, it's still a hard sell, isn't it?
It is harder, yeah. However, we will still be one of the most attractive destinations in League One. Just because of who we are, and because Hillsborough's a fantastic place to play your football. But nobody wants to be in a relegation battle, do they? So if you're a decent League One standard player with aspirations of getting to the Championship, then you might be put off by sort of the way the wind's blowing for us. But I agree with Ollie. I think somebody has to sort of start the ball rolling by selling it, by the right managerial appointment, whatever that might be.
Well, Henrik thinks it's going to be him next season, Subs.
Yeah, he does, and I think I can't really fault Storch for what he said.
Well, I've just on that, Subs. I've been told that they obviously we know that Storch met with Henrik Pedersen, and he was told then that they want him to guide them to success next season. Now, there's two things to that for me, Subs. One, well, yeah, he said it, fair enough. But two, they're not even in yet, so they're not really going to go in and go, oh, by the way, mate, yeah, when we come in, you're first out the door. See you later. Never gonna, not really going to have that conversation.
No one's ever said that.
No. They're not going to have that conversation. So they're sort of making they're dishing out all the pleasantries, saying all the right things. I mean, if you look at what he said in his entirety in that interview with Rob Staten, which I really enjoyed, I thought he hit all the right notes. He had clearly had a great meeting with the supporters' trust.
Yeah,
and I'm sure he had spent a lot of time listening rather than talking, which is the best thing he can be doing at this stage, is listening, understanding what we want as fans. He was talking about the match day experience, as well as all the other stuff, the fact that we need capital and we need investment to be moving forward, all of those things, getting a structure, putting it in place. So the trust had put him right, I think, on all of the issues that we've had in the last, well, let's call it 25 years. And he's listened, and he's sort of took that as, well, here's my ready-made framework. Here's my ready-made blueprint for how we're going to be successful in the first couple of years. It's by getting us believing again. All the Wednesdayites who turn up week in, week out, it's us that you need on board straight away. So I thought that was great, and he probably couldn't really say an awful lot about personnel and the mid to long term situation, because, like you said, he's not even in the door yet.
I have to keep reminding myself of that. Subs. At this point, parts of me thinking that they've already been appointed as the new as the new owners of Sheffield Wednesday. I say appointed.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, and I like what he said so much that I really want this takeover to succeed now, because we've had the sort of board debacle, we've had the Ashley rubbish trotted out, and that might rear its ugly head again. We've had ridiculous takes from everybody all over the place talking about fan buyouts and people who don't know what they're talking about. So I really do want this to succeed, because I think we need to be on the timeline that Storch mentioned, which is getting something in place early May, so we can start planning for next season quickly after that. Otherwise we're right up against it again for another season, and we can't go through another season of this, for Christ's sake.
No, you're right. Like on all of that, Ollie, I just want to subsidize you in a second as well. But Storchy Owls is now on Twitter. Ollie, what do you make to all that? What was your kind of reaction, and what's your thoughts when you've had a bit of time?
It's another shrewd move, and it's another shrewd move, because let's face it, he said everything we want to hear, and at this moment, until he's in the door, it is a little bit more than lip service, really, for us. And I do honestly believe he means every single word of it, and I do think he looked at that Twitter handle and thought, "Yeah, all right, we'll go with that." He probably got his grandkids involved, and I guarantee you he's probably got a little team of people going, what do you think is the best Wednesday related Twitter handle name I can have? And one of them went Storchy Owls. I don't see any problem with it. I mean, it opens him up if it all goes a bit wrong,
which
is my only worry, because Look what happened to Mini Muppet. We went at him, didn't we? When he started sending out pictures of players, Messi. Oh yeah, you're unfollowing Messi because he's going to turn up at S6. But when he started linking players, and it all went wrong, certain areas of the fan base went at him, and rightly or wrongly, well, I think it was wrong. I just don't think you do that, and that's the only drawback here.
Yeah. So what are you going to say?
I think. Yeah, I was just going to say to Ollie that it's fine. It's fine right now for him to be sort of engaging and getting a temperature check and all the rest of it and putting out sort of reassuring messages. But he better have that finger on the delete button by the time we get smashed by Stevenage.
Hey, Stevenage, I'm waiting for Bromley to beat us subs.
Hey, I'll be there that day.
Because it can change very quick. So he better be off there quickly.
Yeah, like for me at the moment, right now it's harmless. Like whatever he says turns to gold. Like you're right, all he can do at the moment is say words because he's not in it and things like that. It's just, I suppose, it's adding a little bit of positivity around the place. You see, anything that's to do with him or them that's not to do with the EFL, it's a positive step moving forward. I don't think we're going to probably hear anything now until they actually, get announced as the new owners of Sheffield Wednesday. But it's all PR, isn't it? Really, that's what social media is at the end of the day, isn't it? But I do agree, and me and Matt said at the weekend, like, yeah, we had it with our previous owner on LinkedIn. Some people tried to say that it wasn't him. It 100% is, and was and is him on LinkedIn, and in some of the messages there, and you just don't need it. Like you said, you open yourself up to get dogs abuse and stuff. Like I said, rightly or wrongly, it's not great, and you don't need that. Like if the communication at the club is as good as what it should be, then you don't need to do all that sort of stuff, do you, subs?
No, you don't, and that's why I think this would be an interim measure because he is, he's clearly a high net worth, very very successful man in business, and there will be ways and means of communicating, whether it's to the wider fan base, whether it's to supporters groups, whether it's to the club staff. That there will be a right way to do that and official channels to do that.
Subs, in the nicest way possible, subs. I don't want to hear from him. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean that in the nicest sense. Yeah. Like he can be there at the games and whatever else, but honestly, like the owners, realistically, you shouldn't hear from them. It should all be, like the CEO. They're the mouthpiece. They're the people that you should be hearing from.
That's right. That's right. I mean, the guy everyone talks about at Brighton is Tony Bloom, isn't it? But it's always Paul Barber, the CEO, who takes care of all of the day-to-day stuff and does it very well. Has turned them into the kind of well-run club that clubs like us aspire to be like. So, he is clearly the face of the bid. But you're right. When we have somebody who is in place as either a chief exec or a director of football, sporting director, whatever you want to call it, someone who's running the day to day, then even them, the communication should be sort of short and to the point, rather than regular streams of consciousness about former players.
Or congratulating our rivals.
Those days are well gone. Yeah, congratulating our rivals.
Let's congratulate our biggest rivals on promotion. Brilliant.
Yeah, and offering lumps of African gold on eBay, that kind of stuff.
That's what I mean. And Joe, what we've been hit over the head Subs for so long by the previous owner in the way that the football clubs run. I think a lot of us has actually forgotten about what it's like to be normal. And some could say that it's been a long, long time since it's actually been normal. Or have we ever been normal? What is normal? Like, I suppose is the question.
That's right. And because we've been starved of anything approaching normal, as you say, never mind average or good. We just want normal, just want a bit of stability. But that's why there's so many open goals, so many opportunities staring a would-be owner in the face, and he has already. I mean, he's probably been to Hillsborough three or four times maximum, and he's already identified. He's talking about food and beverage, because if you go to a sporting event in America and then you come to Hillsborough, I mean, you probably can't even class that food and beverage. So he's thinking, if fans want to come here, want to watch their football, want to do it in a good environment, then he's talking about the match day experience, which nobody's ever talked about before when they've owned Sheffield Wednesday. So straight away he's got buy-in from people on that. But there are so many things that we all know as fans, and will have got fed back to them. Will have got fed back to them via the meeting with the trust. They would have had a whole list of things to discuss. So there's no doubt he'll have a laundry list of important things to deal with on day one, and I'm pretty sure we'll see. If it was him and his group to take over, we're in for a really exciting year. It might be tough for a while on the pitch, but everything else I think would be really exciting to see.
Yeah, Subs, thanks for coming on, pal. Do really appreciate it as always.
Cheers, lads.
Great to hear from you. There's no one else up to speak, so if you want to come up and chat, now is the time to do it. You'll get straight on. Press that request to talk button. I'll bring you straight up. I just want to pull on something that Subs was saying, Ollie. He said, he's setting himself up for 3 to 4 years in League One. Is that where you see things? I mean, the other thing you've got to ask though is, does this consortium, does Storch have the money to do that? Because obviously, our previous owner was talking very much how, he actually said it costs him more money in the Championship than it did in League One. But there's no denying that a Championship club there's more money, more TV money, and that sort of stuff. I think he said that before the new TV deal came in. But spend a club in our particular our size spending 3 or 4 seasons in League One. It's not I know football clubs don't make a lot of money anyway, but we're not going to be making that much money just sat in League One. That really is a long-term project.
It is, and I always said, I think I've said it for weeks, that I can see us being in for 3 years. First season would be making sure we don't drop down and solidifying. Second season, attracting slightly better players, and improving the infrastructure around the club. And in the third season, make a concerted effort for promotion. That would be the sensible way to go. And on him speaking, I do feel that until he gets in and he appoints someone, he probably will be more vocal. But once he gets the people in place, I do think he would be the sort of guy who'd step back, because he's got, Tom Costin, who's experienced in this, to advise him and saying, actually, do you know what? We don't need to be doing this. That's why we've got Fred, and that's why we've got Doris. They can do the speaking for us.
I think for me, that when we were talking about kind of how many points we'd need and stuff next season, and because I agree, like 2, 3, 4 seasons in League One isn't a disaster as long as things are happening elsewhere as well. I don't just want to be languishing in League One, but nothing's happened with the stadium, with the training ground, or the practice pitches, as he was calling them. If those things are happening, then that is absolutely fine. But the way I see it is, as I mentioned, we've got to have kind of a top 6 side next season just to stay in the league. So I feel like when you then don't have the points deductions, you've still kind of hopefully still got that top 6 side, and so I think really, even though I wouldn't mind sticking in League One for a few seasons, I think, and again, you say that now, some fast forward in another 6 to 9 months, and or get to Christmas time, and we're still in the relegation zone, and I might have changed my tune a little bit, but I think just by virtue of having that sort of squad, you could find ourselves just getting propelled back into the Championship in a couple of seasons anyway. Just by that's just you're just gonna have to build a squad that's that good, if you know what I mean.
Exactly, and that is a tall order because, again, we don't know who we're going to get. I think we all have to accept the fact of anyone that we can sell to make some sort of money will probably be sold. So
yeah.
Charles will be gone. Bernard might go if
his injuries. I think nobody will. I don't think people will take much of a gamble on him just because of his injury record.
But if he's there in the beginning of the season and he has an absolute blinder, like Bagheera did, he might find in January that he goes.
Yeah, and I think we've got to be ready for that, though, Ollie. We've got to be ready to actually move players on, and we might sign some players in January, because I suppose that it forces our hand a little bit, Ollie, in terms of if we do have these wage restrictions, we can't go out and buy these, failing Premier League players that are over 30 years old, just looking for their last paycheck. We're going to have to buy, Jenny Gassama, I want to say, was on about £1,500 a week when he first signed, and look what he's on to do. You know what I mean? So those players are out there and available, and it kind of forces us to sign those younger players that are going to have that sell-on value, I guess.
Exactly, and it is all about selling it in the right way. If we can sell it as this is the season, this is a siege one, this is for you to show what you can do. Nobody wants to take a chance on you, but we will. Let's go out there and stick it to everybody, because nobody rates us. Everyone's written us off. Let's show them that we're not as crap as everyone thinks we are. That, I think, has got to be the attitude that we bring in for next season. It's going to have to be them against us against the rest of them.
Yeah, agreed. I'm going to come to Turner in a second. I just want to read a few comments out that we've had, so do get yourself ready. Mark says it's Derby fans begging a rivalry and United fans obsessing as per usual towards us. Matt has said the problem is if at least the wage limit isn't lifted, he's not going to buy the club. Personally, I'd take the points deduction next season if the wage limit restriction is lessened or lifted. Jay says, regardless, I'm hoping the small creditors get paid outside of the insolvency. Yeah, I agree on that, Jay. The only thing I would say on that is that owning a business, and that is just a risk that you take, isn't it? Owning a business, it's not nice, it's not great. I do a lot of work with construction companies as well. When I put my other hats on, and it happens all the time. Over there, when you give anyone any credit, that is the risk that you run. Moral of the story: don't give Mr. Depon Chansiri any credit whatsoever in all of the sense. You don't get any credit.
But don't forget, we had to pay top end prices for top end players.
Yes, we did. Yes.
And what were those top end players?
Yeah, I was looking at season ticket prices actually. When over the years, and there was what year was it now? It was a couple of years ago, and it shot up by about 60 or 70 quid for your ticket on the Cop, which it's good as well if you go on Twitter and just type in at SWFC and then season tickets, and it comes up with all the tweets that they've said, and then you read the comments. It's great reading old comments as well, especially around like 2016, 2017. If only we knew then what we know now. But
we only had a 2-year plan, didn't he? That came out in the documentary.
Yes, on the back of a fag packet as well. Dan says they should decide to just take -1 every year for the next 15 years. That would would be nice. Richard said he stripped the club of all the assets, let the stadium rot, sold young players, didn't not only pay players but staff and goods, etc. He lied to us all. He duped us into buying early bird season tickets. Do you know what, on that? I cannot believe that so many people couldn't see what was actually happening. Like when the season tickets were going on sale so early, it was, and the fact that we had a week to buy it, and the fact that he wanted everyone to pay cash as well. Like, you know, you couldn't take credit. Like, honestly, all these things. I mean, I'm sure we you know, me and Matt will probably do a bit of a special over the summer or something when all the dust has settled and talk about some of these things when you go back, and all the signs were there.
Wasn't the buy a season ticket for 10 years and when we get to the Prem you'll get one for free? That was when the alarm bell started ringing for me.
Yeah, like
you're going to get a little individual number on your seat. Well, they're already on there, but it'll be in silver or whatever it was he sort of said.
Mine's in gaffer tape at the moment.
Is it?
But it is blue. It's not white. So, you know, I can't beggars can't be choosers, can we? Right, let's come to Turner then, who's been waiting patiently to speak. Just want to unmute yourself, Turner, and we'll have a chat. How's it going, mate? You all right?
Yeah, you all right, boys?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you very much. What do you want to talk about, mate?
I'm very optimistic about next season. I really don't think we'll even go down with -15, and even if we do, keep the wage cap.
Okay, what makes you think like that?
Well, you know, a lot of players in League One aren't anywhere close to $7,000, and there's a lot of top quality players like that. If you buy your best wingers, your best striker, your two best centre backs in league, you might end up getting somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at the numbers in terms of wages. Derby, when they went up, spent £14 million on wages. They finished second, I think, in the league when they got promoted. I think it would put us probably in the bottom 5 or 6 in terms of wage spend. All right, this data I was looking at was historical, so it was kind of from a few years ago. Like I said, that season that Derby went up, a lot of clubs, I think Reading, Bolton was spending 10 to 12 million pound. Like, you know, I know what you're saying. It's not astronomical, but when you can only spend 7 million, and this is another thing I pointed out yesterday. Again, I'm not sure if the players we've already got count in this wage restriction. I'm sure they must do, because this is the wage salary. But Ike Ugbo's on over £1 million a year at the moment. All right, he could have a relegation clause in his contract, and I really, really hope he does. But it depends on how much it goes down by. If he hasn't, and we are paying him £1 million, that's 1/7 of that wage bill that's gone in a player that, well, can't hit a cow's arse with a banjo, quite frankly, at the moment.
And won't play at home.
Yeah, won't play at home. Do you know what I mean? I know what you're saying, Turner. Like, you're right. Like, we can get some young players and stuff, but I do think there's an element of risk involved in all of it. All the stars have got to align in order for us to have a good season. But I suppose at least we'll win a few games next season anyway, Turner.
See, I do agree with that. I do feel like, I think any price for Ugbo, I feel like we should take it no matter what. I think that's for a starter. And I do feel like maybe if anyone does come in, maybe if like an Ernie Weaver or George Brown, I think you take it because that's pure profit as well. So yeah. I think that also links in with that PSR thing as well. I'm not too sure on that, but I feel like Leeds had a wage cap and all, and they had -20, and they still got promoted. So
yeah,
I feel like if you get it right, you get it right.
Yeah, 100%. If we can get the right players in, I think you bang right with what you're saying. I don't think it's all doom and gloom. But this summer is going to be so important, isn't it? Getting those players through the door, because we're going to need a lot, aren't we? You know, when you look at the squad now, you know, half of the players we've got are on loan. When you look at it, you know, the half of the starters, you've got Jerry Yates, he's on loan. You've got Heskey on loan as well. That's just 2 there. You've got Ndala, he's on loan. Teo Adaramola, he's on loan. I mean, 3 of those 4 have been starting week in, week out. So these players that are out of contract, Nathaniel Shalbar's out of contract. You're not going to give him one, but he don't play anyway. But he's still a player in the squad that we're going to have to we're going to have to replace. I mean, how many players do you think we need to bring in over the summer, Turner?
I think at least 12.
Yeah.
I feel like you still need a full 11 because there's so many injuries in the team. I don't know what's up with training ground or whatever, but it needs sorting out.
Yeah. Are you excited with the prospect of David Storch and Tom Costin coming in and obviously Storch's son as well? Are you excited of what the future might bring for Sheffield Wednesday?
Well, I think everyone should be. I mean, if that's what you wanted, if you wanted Storch, you might have wanted Ashley. But either way, I think anyone who buys the club has to get their finger in their pocket anyway. So it's going to be exciting whoever takes over the club. Yeah,
I mean, I think this is your first time that you've come on, Turner. But how have you been over the course of the season, over the course of the whole kind of debacle which has been, the previous owner owning the club? What's your take on everything? How have you been dealing with all this?
Like I said, I've always been optimistic. I mean, I've always been trying to put a brighter spin on everything because everyone's always down. I guess if you don't laugh, you cry, don't you? So
yeah.
Like Jamal Lowe said, eh?
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Oh, do you go to the games, Turner? Are you a season ticket holder? Whereabouts do you normally sit?
Yeah, I've got 2 season tickets.
There we go. That's the reason why Chancery was in for so long, because Turner is buying two season tickets.
Yeah, I've got one in T.
So you've got one where? Sorry,
I got one in T1 and one in Family Stand as well.
There we go. One with the kids and one when you want to have a bit of a let your hair down and have a sing a song and a dance and what have you. The atmosphere looks class in that T1 block, and it's been great. All the singing and the chant, the Honolulu Wednesday and stuff. There's a lot of gallows humour at the games at the moment, isn't there?
Yeah, it's been great, but like I said, I've always been optimistic. I mean, I think I posted quite a few tweets about it, saying there's 138 points to play for. Hillsborough's going to be packed out again. A lot of players will just walk on their hands and knees to come to Hillsborough. Obviously, with wage cap, it might be a bit different, but we're still going to get a lot of players. Think about players like that Kyrie's Lisby at Peterborough, his brother at Colchester, Don Ballard, who's playing in front of like no one.
Yeah,
they'll dream to play inside Hillsborough.
Yeah, you're probably right there. Turner, massive thanks for coming on, pal. Do really appreciate it as always. Always great to speak to different people. I'm just going to come to. I've got Peter that wants to speak as well. Just going to come to some more comments before we do that. Andrew Barton says Tuna Man is due a Zoom meeting on Sunday with Storch. Let's see what happens then. First I've heard of that one, Andrew, but let's see if he turns up this time, or was that someone else that didn't turn up? Maybe it was. Martin says Storch isn't going to tell him yet. He's not. Yes, that's going back to when we were talking about Henrik Pedersen. Yeah, Storch isn't going to tell him he's not wanted, is he? Yeah, that was exactly my thoughts as well. Really, when you look at all of that. Right, let's come to Peter then, who's been waiting. Peter, how's things, mate? You okay?
I'm all good, James. How are you, Phil?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you very much. Got Ollie here as well, Peter. What's on your mind?
Not too bad, mate. You?
Yeah, what's on your mind at the moment, Peter?
I don't know. I think the main thing is that we try and get through the CFL thing with the Storches, and well, first things first, get the Storches passed, and then get this CFL thing near some kind of resolvement. I think that's the first things first. I've had a lot of talk tonight about staying up and getting into mid-table and all that kind of thing. But I think first things first, we need to make sure we've got a football team to support. Yeah, because it's a deadly serious situation, as we know, as well as some of us. It sounds like some of us don't fully realise what could happen in the next few months.
Well, do you think that there's a potential that he actually does pull out?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
But this was spoken about kind of before he came in, or do you just think he didn't think that it would happen, or do you think he may have been told by certain people that it'll be all right. I mean, do you think he's been told by the administrators that, I'll be fine, we'll not get a 15-point deduction and all this, that and the other, and then all of a sudden, wait a minute, handbrakes have been put on. Do you think that there's been a little bit of that?
I don't think it's the 15-point deduction that bothers. Don't bother me. Don't bother. I don't think it bothers the Storches that much. I think it's the other restrictions that bother you: the transfers, the restrictions on the wages, the salary caps, the $7,000 a week, the 7 million a year. The job's going to be hard enough. And you're asking whoever the manager is, whether it's Henrik or if they decide to bring someone else in, you're going to be asking a person and a group of players and us as fans to get behind the side, get behind the club with one hand tied behind us back. And I think it's whilst I see the point of other clubs saying we need to be seen to be punished, I just feel. I just feel we're in a very perilous position at the minute, and I don't think fans fully realise how close we are to maybe not even having a team, maybe not having a team to support. I don't know. It's one step at a time. I think if we do, I think the likelihood is if the EFL relent at all, they're more likely to give us the fact the 15 points will remain, and they'll maybe say, right, you can have whatever, you can have 10 million is your budget rather than 7, and you can pay up to $10,000 a week. I don't think they're going to give us it all back, no matter who they've got, Nick DeMarco or whoever. They'll still want their penalty of punishment, or they need to be seen to be punishing us because they've got 71 of the EFL clubs who will be baying for blood. And such is the power of social media, the press, even though quite a large part of the press are on our side, such is the power of social media in particular. I think the weight of angst against us will force the EFL into, or will just reinforce the EFL's position. I can't see. I said it a few times last few months. I think this is a long-term. If we get to survive it, it's a long-term project. 4 or 5 years. But to try and start us on minus 15 with all those, I can only describe them as draconian punishments. For me, it's extremely harsh.
But the other thing as well, though, Peter, this needs sorting out before the start of the season. Agree. I don't think this has been spoken about before in terms of it doesn't need to be dragged out and like the Leicester one, for example. That's been dragged out, and then you get so far into the season. Oh, by the way, boom, -6. All right, you could argue they thought they should have known it was coming, but we don't want to start the season on 0 and then get however far in and then be like, boom, -15, because there could be an element of, depending on how long it goes, sometimes. I'm sure I've seen it where they won't get a club doesn't get a deduction in that season because it has no effect on them. It'll be applied at the start of the next one. If for example, there's no point giving someone a 6-point deduction if they're mid-table, and they'll still be mid-table because that's not really a punishment. Whereas giving it at the start of the season, where obviously when things aren't sorted out, it is. So yeah, you don't need to drag on very long at all, because I don't want to get to Christmas and thinking, have we got enough? Have we not got enough? Do you know what I mean? It's not a good place to be, is it?
No. I think it was Ollie's just said about Max Lowe, Pierce Charles, and other players, and they've got to be. There's got to be, even if we do get through to the start of next season and we're allowed to carry on, then there's no way on God's earth they're going to play for us. Absolutely not a chance. If Pierce Charles any ambition of carrying on playing international football, an international footballer is not going to play a League One football. End of chat.
Yeah.
And he's not just an international keeper. is a bloody good goal. He's a bloody good goalkeeper who could get into more just about any championship team. It would certainly be a good number 2 in at least 50% of the league of the Premiership sides.
Yeah,
and I would lay a good bet down that most Premiership sides would want to take him. I said this last year. We were so lucky to get Shea Charles on loan when Danny Rowe managed to sign him. There weren't many other clubs that had an international goalkeeper. There were no other clubs that had an international goalkeeper and an international captain, as regular starters in their side. It was totally unheard of, but it's we really have had it so good. And despite what's happened in the last couple of years, players-wise, that have come into this club, we've been so fortunate. I know I'm going off at a tangent and it's a bit of a rant, but we've been extremely fortunate in the play.
Go off on as many tangents as you want and go on as many rants as you want. Yeah. That's what it's all about. That's what I said at the top. If you've got something you want to get off your chest, do it on here.
Well, first things first, like I said right at the start, let's get through this weekend, the next 7-10 days. Let's get this EFL rubbish sorted out, and hopefully we've still got a club to support. And then whatever, I cannot see a way they're going to relent on the 15 points. I can see a way where they give us, like I just said, a bigger allowance in terms of wages and the salary caps. And
it's two separate things in it, Peter. 15. It's two separate things in it. The 15 points is for coming out of administration without paying 25 pence in the pound. That's what that's for. The restrictions on the wages, we are already under those restrictions already. Like that we can only pay £7,000 a week on wages, and we can't pay anything on players. That's still in force up until next January or the end of next January, and I can only presume we are also under this £7 million wage cap as well, albeit we've probably exceeded that, but because we've exceeded it, we can't then sign anyone. That's why we can't pay anything for the wages for the loan players. That's why Harry Amass had to be practically gifted to us. That's why all the other players there's no contribution to the actual wages itself. So I can only, and that's why it's one out, one in, and that's why they're so reluctant on it, because we've got to keep that the wages down. I think didn't it say we're paying £16 million on wages annually at the moment, but that does include non-paying staff as well. So I've no, I know a lot of players are going to leave, but I've no idea how we're going to get to this £7 million, including the players that are already here. By all accounts, Domayoff is Domayoff's contract up in the summer, because he's on big wages as well. Like, there's a lot of players on some decent money.
Well, when you've got non-firing up on 15% of that $7 million, it puts it in perspective. So really, you've only got whatever it is, 5 points.
Yeah, just shy of 6 million. Yeah.
And let's face it, we're probably going to have to pay him off, because I don't think anyone's going to want to take him.
Yeah, and even if they do take him, they've got to pay his full wages, or we have to make up the difference as well. And he's on over £20,000 a week. I can't see anyone paying anywhere near that, unless they call David Blunkett or something like that. To be honest,
he's at Jen Sheree.
Well, no, because they're laughing, aren't they? They're laughing at us that we're lumbered with him and things like that. But yeah, it's a very difficult situation, and well, hopefully we get out the other end of it. Peter, massive thanks for coming on, pal. I've got Big Artie that wants to speak as well before we wrap things up, and I do have to finish bang on half past this time, so I've got to go and do the no rest for the wicked. I've got to do the Hull preview as well, and listen to a Hull fan tell us how good they are, because they're obviously 5th in the league at the moment, and listen to them talk about Ollie McBurney and the like, and I'm sure they'll probably ring up the Diarmi goal as well, because they always do every time we speak to.
Of course, I will.
Speak to the Hull. And do you know what? Was it obviously Boxing Day, weren't it, where they were singing "We Saw You Crying on Wembley Way," and what did we sing back to them? Something about you weren't even there, or something. Or something like that.
Oh, were you actually there? Because they were absolutely dead, and there was hardly anyone there.
Yeah, exactly. Right, Let's actually let me come to a few comments, then I'll bring Artie up. Turner, who we just spoke to, was giving the super chat. Thank you very much for that. He says, "Keep the faith, Owls." Thank you very much for that one, Turner. Kurt says, Bailey Peacock-Farrell played in goal for Northern Ireland when we was in League One. I did think about that one actually, but just on the point that Peter was saying that no League One, no international goalkeeper will be playing in League One. Only thing I would say on that is that I think Northern Ireland have got a little bit better since, and obviously they've got a chance to get into the World Cup as well, haven't they, this time around. Matt says, many Northern Ireland players have played in League One, but I take the point. My point is that unless the wages are a problem with the cap, I'd like to keep him for one season more. Let's come to Big Artie. How's it going, mate? You all right?
Hi, mate. How's it going? Yeah, all good.
All good on the therapy, the therapy hour, therapy 90 minutes, or whatever you're going to call it. Yes.
Well, last week I was listening and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm on the crest of a wave, and now I'm at the bottom of the ocean again. It's if anything, it's a roller coaster, isn't it, being a Wednesday fan?
Yeah, you can say that again.
It's just remarkable how we get ourselves in a position where we think, hang on, we're actually going to be in positive news. We're going to be out of all this crap, and we're all going to be, we're on positive vibes, everyone. And then suddenly the EFL throw in that statement saying, oh, by the way, you're still going to be under embargo. You're still doing this. And there was like a little bit of an idle threat. If you still want to be a member of this EFL, and you're like, oh, hang on.
Yeah,
it's
just on that, I think, I've not really said this before, all the EFL have done, really, I suppose, is just kind of read out what the worst case scenario is, haven't they? In that situation, it's like, oh, you might not be a member of the EFL anymore. And I suppose the other thing is they can't really comment on the 15 points because it hasn't happened yet. You know what I mean? The bid's not, the sale's not gone through, has it, to say that we are or we aren't going to get 15 points, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that 15-point thing is a just be mindful type thing. Although, when that policy what they've got on insolvency, it's very much, as they say, discretionary, and I think that's one of the hooks what that DeMarco might be using.
Yeah.
Just to reduce it, even if it was to just reduce it down to say 9 points or down to 6 points or whatever, it's that thing. The other point is really is how do we cope on a wage cap and a wages thing. It's really going to be tough. But then what we need to do is we need to identify who should we be really keeping on, and like we've all said, Ugbo needs to just be paid off. We just need to just by mutual consent or whatever. And I know that's going to be more expense, but hopefully by the time we've got an owner in, they could say, we'll give you 750,000. Just leave and just go and find your own employment. Because we don't want to be having someone, as Pete just said there, 15-20% of our 7 million cap is on one player who isn't firing, who hasn't scored a league goal for over a year. So we need to just be sensible in what we can do. The other thing as well, which I'm a little bit positive on, is the fact that the young lads who've been playing this season have had a season of growing, and where we would have been sending them out to a League 2, League 1 team to learn the trade. They've had to learn it very fast. To make us competitive.
And if you look at the players that have played, I want to say that Sean Fazier has got better. I'm not saying he's a world beater, but he's certainly got better. Gabe Otubeyo has certainly got a lot better than what he was when he first started. I think Jarvis Thornton is another player that's looked pretty handy. All right, again, no world beater, but certainly he's decent as a squad player, or even a starter if we can't get anyone in like that, and then obviously you've got Ernie Weaver and you've got George Brown as well, who we've got to think about, and they're just players just off the top of my head. There's 4 or 5, 6 players that are actually, like I said, they've got better just by virtue of playing this season, Artie.
Yeah, and I think just by that opportunity of getting that experience, because the experience, enables especially youngsters to have that confidence for the next season, because they've already been in a fight. They've been in a fight this season. So if we're saying to them, well, with minus 15, it's they're just going to roll the sleeves up. They're going to go, well, we had minus 18 this season, so with 3 points better than last season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And taking, I've always been good on positive, taking positives from negatives, and so if we emphasise on that, and if we're able to get some old guard, and I know we don't want to be getting old people in, older players in, and things like that, but we're going to have a spine of veteran players who can be League One dirty, because that's what we need. Yeah. We need League One professionals who can slow games down, who can do the dirty work and the dark arts, and teach these kids so that they have got that experience, because we cannot be going in there next season in League One as polite players, because they are gonna rip us to bits. Other teams, they are going to be coming out with some absolute extreme dark arts.
Yeah.
To get advantage off us.
Just on that. Just on that, Ollie. Like, I'm just going to pick up on that point you said there about some older players. I guess like your Aidan Flints, your Ben Hennigans, your people like that. I suppose. And I know I was saying you don't want those older players, but you do. You can't just have a team full of 18 to 21 years old, can you?
You kind of have to have a spine of experience that goes through it, which is why I sort of looking at players, and people have shot that down on Twitter, but like the Elliot Lees at Wrexham, who can't get a game and they're now on loan at Doncaster, would be quite good to come into that midfield at 31. He's got a bit of experience. He might not start, but you could bring him off the bench and he can control the ball. He's calm. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we're gonna have to have a lot of players that are young just to fit in that wage cap, the £7 million. Like, we're gonna have a lot of players on not a lot of money, a lot of youngsters coming through, and Artie, like, you're gonna have that experience to kind of put a shoulder over some of these people.
Yeah, we're gonna have to tell it, because we're all at that mind now that if that 15 minutes, minus 15 points stands, then we need to have that where we are in a fight for staying up. We're not going to be promoted. We're not going to be things like that. We need to have that. We need to already start building that mentality for next season, that we are in a survival, and we are trying to consolidate our position in League One for next season. And if we can psychologically get our heads around it, that this is what we've got to do, and that will need the 11 on the pitch, including us in the stands. We have got to then do what our business, which is to support everybody to keep us up. Because if we stay up, so end of next season, we have survived. The following season, prize caps are removed. Everything is open season for us. So we've got to box smart next season to stay up, because once we've got beyond them embargoes and them wage caps, that's it. Then they cannot keep giving us retrospective punishment, because we have a new owner, we have a new team, and everything like that. That's when we start. But next season, we just have to hold the line, and basically have our primary goal on that pitch is to have enough points to finish 5th from bottom. Yeah. And if we finish any higher than that, that is an absolute bargain. But I'll stop there, because I know you've got to get off.
Artie, thanks, mate. Do really appreciate it as well. You bang right. Like what he said there is right, isn't it? Really, like, it is. You have got to, I suppose, take the small wins and stuff, and take the positives. Look positively on this situation rather than seeing it as a negative. Yeah. I suppose, just to finish, I guess, I think quite a lot. If I'd have said to you, Ollie, next season we're going to be on minus 15 in League One, but we're not going to have Tuna Man pulling the strings, you'd have probably took it, wouldn't you?
Of course I would, yeah. I would have taken that. And I do honestly think if anything can get overturned, it will be the wage cap and the $7,000 a week restrictions. I think if anything DeMarco can do will be working on that. I don't think we've got much hope with the 15-point deduction.
So you're saying that Jamie Vardy could come back to Sheffield Wednesday next season? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think that will happen. We'd all bloody love it. Don't get me wrong. For a swan song season.
Look, if there's no wage cap and nothing else, Mr. Storchy Owls might be fluttering the cash a little bit. You never know.
We have to wait and see. We probably won't get Jamie Vardy. Probably get Ugbo's twin brother.
Maybe. Ollie, well, massive thanks for joining me this evening. I'm gonna have to wrap things up here. I just want to say a massive thanks to everyone for coming up and speaking as well. Do appreciate it. Always nice for the regulars, but we had Turner up as well, and a new voice I've not heard before. So it's always nice to hear from different people as well. We are going to wrap it up there. Undecided whether we're going to do a watch along on Saturday, but if I am, I'll let people know over on X at WTRD Pod, or you can just subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Why the hell haven't you? Subscribe to it, hit that notification bell as well, and you'll be notified when we, if I am doing a watch along on Saturday evening. But one thing that is for certain is myself and Matt will be back on Sunday night talking about said Hull City game. Win, lose or draw, whatever it is, we'll be chatting about all that good stuff. But no, thank you very much, everyone. Do really appreciate it, and we'll see you all next time. Cheers.